show you how to build a color scheme from an image. So right now, I just used HTML orange and white for my image. There are lots of ways to get color pickers, but there's actually some built right into the inspector, so that's a nice tool to use. In order to use the ones in the inspector, you need to already have a color in your code. So in my case, I've got this background orange and white as a starting point, and then I always like to start with a fresh window to use the inspector. I'll go ahead and right-click Inspect. All right, and then here I see for my header the colors that I have that are orange and white, and those little squares are clickable. So I'll click on that orange, and it brings up this display with a little eyedrop. That's the color picker. So if I choose the eyedrop, I now get a color picker, and I could choose somewhere from this an orange that I like. So I'll go ahead and grab. You can see there's different ones. Some of them are really bright. Some are very yellow. So you can play with that until you get a color that you like the look of. I'll grab that one. All right. And there's the color as a hex code. And I can copy it back here and paste it. And I'm good to go. Another neat thing you can do, is it built into here? No. So in the inspector, there's these arrows that let you change how the color is encoded. RGBA, and then here's the one I'm interested in. This stands for hue, saturation, lightness, and alpha, which is how see-through it is. So alpha would just make it go to white, see-through. And then the saturation and lightness, if we watch this, let me copy the value first and then I'll show you how it works. So if I move it on this scale this way, it's going to change. As the saturation goes to 0, it becomes gray. And as the saturation goes to 100, it becomes whatever the opposite of gray is. And then the lightness goes from white to black, so I'm darkening the shade. So that's very handy, and I'll show you why, because I can now, instead of that hex value, the color is not going to change. I'm just going to paste in the HSL value. Oops, I got to get rid of the hashtag there. HSL value. Now what's cool is, let's say that instead of that white, I wanted to use a complementary color. This stands for hue, saturation, lightness. So the lightness, if I move that to 96%, I now have just a slight off-white, and I might choose, oh, maybe I want it 92%. Basically, I'm mixing white paint in, and I can choose how dark I want it to be. So I can choose that off-white, and maybe I like that color as the background for the page. And I can go ahead and do that, and now the whole background changes. Let's get rid of the there we go. Got rid of the body on that. All right. So now I have this off-white, and I can also go ahead and I could go to like 12% to make a deep, deep orange. So now my black is no longer black. It's in that same monochrome. Here, if I make it more dramatic, you'll see the orange show up, but you want it pretty dark to look like text. So here now I'm using a monochrome color scheme. The whole thing is using this HSL. So if my original color again was this 56%, I can get it there. The other thing that's kind of nice here is the saturation value might be, let's say that I want to move that saturation from 92 up to 100. It's going to just be a brighter version of the same color. So that, or if I wanted to make it more muted, I can move it down to 80%. And now it's a kind of darker, more wall paint kind of version of the color. So you can move things towards gray or you can move them towards brightness that way.